triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Good morning, everyone. This is Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and just one heartbeat at a time as we sit here, starting off Monday. And listen, I don't know what day it is for you, but today it's Monday for me. What time of the day it is? It could be early morning. You just finished listening to Rocky Stucci. It's in the afternoon. You just finished listening to Right Now with Jim Dawes. My name is Watson Prunier. This program is Battle4Freedom.com. My website, Battle4Freedom.com. Again, Battle4Freedom.com. Also told you about the couple of shows that you're listening to. You also have Mojo 50, Mojo50.com. I want you to check this out. Go there. This is how you can hear me streaming right now. It should be available to you on Mojo 50 TV, Facebook Live, iHeartRadio, so many different avenues of listening to this program. Today, it's just been a crazy and amazing weekend as we see everything that's been just evolving in our country. Now, I want you to start this day off the correct way, and I need you to understand that maybe you are a morning person. Maybe you need some coffee. Did you ever think of getting yourself some APR coffee from one of our sponsors? Did you hear that sound? That was the factory of American Pride Roasters closing from August 24th to September 14th. Don't freak out. APR Coffee isn't going anywhere. They're doing their annual factory shutdown to reorganize, restock, and clean. You can still order from them, but your favorite coffee won't ship until September 16th, around that time. During the shutdown, they are offering the Brad's Brown Bag Blend. It's a combination of the best brown beans from Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas. Brad's Brown Bag is an unforgettably tasty blend. In order to get this new blend, just go to Mojo50, Mojo50.com, and click the donate button at the top. Donate at least $25 per bag. That's a nice round number. And you will also get a free 8-ounce bag of coffee for every additional 2 pounds you order at AmericanPrideRoasters.com during their factory shutdown. Please, take advantage of this limited time offer while you can. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Yes, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Enjoy that. Drink it up. Get your Java on. And let's get into what we're talking about today. I want to talk about from agitation to spin, the devilish craft of denial. See, right now our country is in turmoil. Our country is in a disaster zone as we're watching cities burn. We're watching people getting attacked. And, as of late, people are now jumping in, wanting to condemn the violence that's going on. It's been going on for many months now. Because of the fact, and there are a lot of people who are in denial right now about the things that are taking place. So I want to take some time, and if you want to interact, you can basically go to facebook.com/Mojo50 Radio, and you can leave your comments, and I'll do my best to respond to what you have to say. But as we're watching this thing take place, that our country's burning, our country's having all these challenges here, I want to show you something, because we heard this information years ago. Over a year ago, we've been sharing more and more of this taking place. But one of the biggest challenges, because right now, because when I tell you about the idea of things being people being in denial, I'm sure many of you remember this image, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And that has been the spin that's been keeping a lot of Americans in a state of delusion, that they can't accept what's happening before their eyes. So make no mistake, there's a lot of evil. There's a lot of evil things taking place in our country right now. And it's very, very discouraging the level of people the number of people who do not want to take this serious. But there are people in New York who are finally taking things serious. I left New York 25 years ago. Exodus from Upper West Side. Fleet of moving trucks descended on New York City neighborhood, and dozens wait in line to hire U-Hauls as residents already reeling from virus call it quits after Mayor de Blasio's decision to move 13,000 homeless people to the area. U-Haul trucks and other moving vehicles are seen out of the abundance in Manhattan's troubled Upper West Side across the weekend. The seeming exodus comes just days after it was revealed residents in the area are planning to sue the city for moving homeless people into the nearby hotels. Now, this is very interesting because of the fact that people in New York, they're tired. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And before you start thinking, oh, well, they just feel like they're just too good to be around the individuals. No. I believe that a lot of the people, let's venture to say that at least, let's just go 50-50 for the time being, okay? You could be right, I could be right, and everybody be happy here. 50% of the people who decide to move are compassionate. They care about the homeless. They donate to the homeless. They do everything that they can to make certain that people who are without can survive. But what happens is, when we bring in these situations, and normally we erect these stands and we erect these areas to help people, but all we do is we dump them in a spot and forget about them. You don't believe me? Think about a lot of the homeless zones, was it Skid Row or whatever they call it in California, where you have, upwards of 10,000 homeless individuals living in an area, and they only put like 5 or 6 porta potties in one area in California, where you actually have the homeless population that's sitting there, and you had officers, LA officers, basically contracting tuberculosis, not just tuberculosis, but even bubonic plague. I mean, you're running into the situation where it's so easy. I have no problem with compassion, but most of our levels of compassion, if we be honest about it, it's just pretty much throw a bone at a person with a problem and go on our merry way. It's like the people who stand out on the corner and they just have a sign, they have a bucket. We dump the money into the bucket and feel that that's our civic duty of compassion. And sadly, I believe that these 13,000 people are going to be dumped into this area and no help. Trust me, I've seen a lot of the challenges in New York. I used to live there, left 25 years ago. So if we're thinking that all of a sudden there's going to be all this compassion and now all these arrogant people are leaving, no. Understand this: these are more people who are about to be neglected. You wave your hands, waving hands, but truly no action being taken place to help them. And we need to step up to the plate and do the best that we can, because I believe people are waking up to the nightmare called democratic leadership. And Republicans, take notice. If you think that you will do the same thing, you will be replaced. You will be replaced. Let's move on, because a lot of people, they don't care for what de Blasio is doing. And more and more violence, more and more neglect, and more of what we've been warning you was on its way is being manifested. We've told you about the Civil War coming. Oh, this conspiracy theory stuff. Okay, so riddle me this. You're concerned about black people dying. Rest in peace, Jay. Donald Trump pays tribute to Portland Prayer Support, who was shot dead in Portland during violent clashes between MAGA supporters and BLM supporters on the 95th night of unrest. The disturbing video captured the shooting that left Jay Bishop dead in Portland on Saturday night. In the footage, the victim appears to be following 2 people down the street when gunshots ring out. The apparent gunman and then his friend fleeing as the victim staggers away before collapsing on the pavement. The victim, named later Bishop, was wearing a cap and a hat with the insignia of Patriot Prayer, a right-wing group whose members have frequently clashed with protesters in Portland. You see how Daily Mail puts this out? Frequently clashing. Now, here's my thing. And make no mistake whatsoever, we do have a problem, okay? We do have a problem on how we're going to confront these individuals who are violent. I believe prayer is definitely key. Now, of course, the news is going to just report this incorrectly. This is the reason why, if you're going to have people who are out there, make sure you have someone with a camera so that we can videotape what's happening and then basically rebuke what the media is already telling. See, listen, Antifa's doing it. BLM is doing it. All of them have cameras. Why aren't you using your brains? Because you know that the spin cycle will basically make you out to be the agitators. So this is where we have to turn around and understand that there's a level of accountability that needs to be for us. Now, here, I tell you to do that, but then I also struggle with something at the same time too. Because of the fact that sometimes in our efforts to try and vindicate ourselves, we create more problems. So don't go with the intention of vindicating yourself. Make sure that the reason why you're doing it, there's a purpose, there's a plan, and there's a reason. And you also have a high level of accountability when you're doing something. Because there's not going to be everything always caught on tape. There's not going to be everything always caught on video, just like Rittenhouse. I mean, if there was no video footage of him being chased, he'd be in a lot of trouble right now. How do you sit there? It shows him being hit on the head with a skateboard. It shows people stomping on him. It shows him retreating and being attacked. So as you sit here and you watch this, and even though the media right now spinning everything crazy about Rittenhouse, even though Facebook is shutting down any capability of the rest of the world vindicating Rittenhouse, even though GoFundMe is shutting down their page, but guess what? We can have millions of dollars raised up for Jacob Blake. Hey, no. Listen, understand this. We're going to work behind the scenes. We're going to get this done and done correctly. But make certain if you're going to travel, you have to travel in pairs. Even in the Bible, Jesus sent them out 2 by 2. Don't go alone. At this particular point, you have no other alternative because they will spin everything as best as they possibly can. You have to have accountability. You cannot. It's reckless at this particular point to continue to do this solo. There's no room for lone wolves at this time. No room whatsoever. Use your brains and use it. Please. And then now you have the Portland mayor. He's turning around and instead of now you heard this 95 days of unrest. The Portland mayor Ted Wheeler blames Trump for MAGA supporters' deadly shooting and calls the president the most divisive figure in history who's trying to incite hate to help his campaign. Spin? You want to talk about a spin cycle? This guy's turning around and blaming the president. He's blaming the president that it's your fault that everything's going the way that it is. So I'm like, what are you on? What are you smoking? Have you lost your mind? Blaming the president for this? Shame on you. Shame on you, Mr. Wheeler. And you know what? I believe that the Portland residents are going to be done. Like I'm done with you. You've disappointed me, and it's time to put an end to your foolishness because you're about to be replaced. This is the president's campaign. The president for the last few months has been trying to stop the violence. If he sends in troops, look at this, the fascism that's going on. But if you sit there and he remains silent, the president doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to help us out. The president can't win. And this is where those of you who live in these cities, this is where those of you who are living, even Chaz Chop Zone, you remember that? And the president wanted to put an end to that. But the only reason why that came to an end is because of the fact that black men were losing their lives. Wasn't that the whole purpose in the first place, is to speak out against the injustice of black men that are facing at the hands of police in this country? The president sat there. He tried to shut it down. They tried to shut him down. And there's being a change. There's a growing change that's happening here. But in this deadly spin cycle, people are being agitated, and many of us are being agitated. And understand this. Is it great watching our cities burn? Is it great watching our loved ones hurt? No, it's not. But understand this. Barack Obama tried for 8 years to start a race war. Period. He tried to agitate the right. He tried to agitate the 3%ers. He tried to agitate pro-patriot Americans into a conflict. And here it is. He's still working behind the scenes. Working behind the scenes like the little evil voices on your shoulder. And trying to awaken that evil nature within us. Understand this. There's room for righteous indignation. But make certain that if you're going to be indignant, it's because you're doing it for the right reasons. The Spirit of God has moved you to act and do what's right. And trust me, you'll be vindicated. I believe, and I'm going to go with this, I believe that Rittenhouse's intentions from what we're learning from the attorneys. People are like, oh, remind who shouldn't have a gun. There's a lot that I think you need to start listening to and following in. And I think it's Tim Cast. Go check him out as he breaks down what's going on between the attorney, finding out a little bit more. He did not bring a gun over state lines, and there are letters in the law that allows him to defend himself. So as you sit here and you watch, I believe that if your intentions are pure, I believe that if your intentions are correct and you're not malicious and malevolent, trust me, I believe that you will have a voice and you will be heard and you'll be exonerated. You will be vindicated. But if you go in this with wrong motives, it's going to backfire, and there's no way that you can do this. There's no way you can survive in the midst of this. Please, don't try and go and do this alone, because if you don't, you're only going to hurt yourself. You know what? Let me give to you even one of our other sponsors as we sit here talking about the needing to focus and making certain that your mind and your spirit is clear as you're trying to do this. Check out one of our other sponsors, and this is New Life Holistic. Does it seem like your mind often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have ever experienced before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle4Freedom sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic. Call them today. New Life Holistic. This is the only way you're going to do this. So you're going to stay focused. I know you've been through trauma. Actually, this whole year has been traumatic. You know, it's like the year 2020, and it's almost like it's the 2 beating up the O, and you have 2 black eyes. Because this year has been malevolent. It has not been a good year. It has been a challenge, and many of us, it's been a level of trauma that we do not. I mean, it's going to be difficult to recover from. Actually, I probably should have done this after this next. I should have probably done that sponsor read after this one. Talking about traumatic, this one was really sad because of the fact that cops used facial recognition technology to arrest a man after a brazen sex offender is filmed attempting to rape a woman 25 on a Manhattan subway platform at 11 a.m. as she screams in terror. Jose Reyes was arrested by the NYPD's 23rd Precinct on Sunday. Authorities said that they used the NYPD's facial recognition program, which matched an image of Reyes to a previous mugshot. Tips sent to the NYPD Crime Stopper also helped police locate Reyes. He has been charged with attempted rape, assault, and harassment. Reyes was caught on video attempting to rape a 25-year-old woman, and the horrific attack took place at the train platform for the Q at Lexington Avenue and East 63rd Street around 11 a.m. on Saturday. Now, and understand this, as I get further into this, a crowd of bystanders formed and yelled at the suspect to leave her alone. The victim suffered minor injuries but refused medical attention. This is so sad. Because I understand yelling, but you don't form a circle yelling. It's time for the people to stand up and start defending people. This is the reason why people are fleeing New York. I saw this. Well, one, spiritually speaking, for me, I was a new Christian for a couple of years, and Indiana, the Lord put it on my heart that this is where I was going to grow as a Christian. I couldn't do it in New York. I had too many of my old running buddies, and I was going to get in a lot of trouble. There was no room for me to grow as a Christian. My life was full of a lot of delusions. I thought I was on top of the world working in Manhattan, and then God humbled me at a revival right, just a few blocks away from Penn Station, and I bowed my heart and knee to my Savior, repenting of my sins and receiving the gift of Jesus Christ. But people are leaving. People are tired. They're tired of the evil, not just the evil that's in their own hearts, the changes that they have to make, but when they're watching their city devolve. I mean, that movie Escape from New York with Kurt Russell, it's coming to pass. We're watching this. It's a nightmare. And you have to be ready to speak up. But it has to go beyond just words, because this woman, how far did it have to go before they would literally do something, jump on top of him and knock him off? This is crazy, folks. This is how bad it is that a man would be willing to rape a woman on a subway platform at 11 a.m. in the morning in public. It goes to show you how much Democrat leadership in New York has devolved and allowed the criminals to run the show. This is disgusting. Because that could have been, I mean, I have friends whose family, their kids, they want to go to New York. They want to go to NYU. They want to go to different performing arts schools. They want to go to Manhattan. And I'm sitting there like, why? I left New York. I lived in New York. And I can defend myself. And I don't want to be there. It's not, we have to get away from this illusion that these big cities are where we need to go. They're no longer safe. And if you know what? I'm done. If your kids want to go to these big cities that it's no longer safe, you know what? You just lift up the prayers and you pray that your child isn't going to be the next victim in these cities, period. There's no way around it. You're no longer, even here in Indiana. Trust me, I'll get to it in a few minutes. You know what? I probably should just switch this. Yeah, I'm just going to switch this one around. Let's get into this. Let's go. Here you go. I'm going to come back to that one in a second here. Family of Dorian Muriel rallies for justice and answers. The family of Dorian Muriel is demanding answers after he was killed May 31st, and the suspect arrested in connection with the shooting was released on bond. Muriel, 18, she was shot and killed in May in downtown Indianapolis when peaceful protests turned violent. Peaceful, I see, I'm sorry. I need to do that again. Peaceful protests erupted in violence. Do you remember, there was a really interesting video here in Indianapolis, downtown. It showed people having an argument, okay? And then literally, as people are sitting there filming the argument that's taking place, all of a sudden, they pull out guns and they start shooting at each other across the street. I want to go to the protest. I want to sit down there and I want to protest the injustice happening against black people. Hey, folks, I've been trying to tell you that the injustice has been happening against black people have been perpetrated by black people for so long that, again, the protests, the argument, Black Lives Matter is a farce. It's a joke. I mean, even when you go and you look on their website, and we'll tell you time and time again that their website, their owners, their founders basically say that we're here to destroy the nuclear family. It's on their website. They are a Marxist organization. It's on their website. And a lot of Christians, we're going to get behind Black Lives Matter. Oh, we've got local chapters. Things are a little bit different here. No. When you sit here and you remain silent to the injustice happening in the community, because get this, if Black Lives Matter if it was truly affecting and changing these communities, there'd be less shootings. There'd be less crime. The drug dealers, the pimps, the gangbangers, they would feel more intimidated if Black Lives Matter was making the impact in the communities. But you want to continue to spin this because of the fact that you don't want to hear or recognize the truth of what's going on here. It wasn't just this family. I don't have to go back to May. Let's go to this other one here. This was just Friday night. Where another person was killed at 7 p.m. on like 30th Street, 5 miles south of where I live right now. Folks, it's a nightmare. I'm your host, Watson Prunier. Let's go to a break, and I'll talk to you on the flip side. That's it. You've hit the snooze button a dozen times and now have to finally get going. Why not have a hot cup of Watson's White Chocolate Caramel Coffee? American Pride Roasters Coffee is the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio, which has a wide variety of excellent blends. I'm not going to lie. I'm partial to the blend named after me. Get it today at AmericanPrideRoasters.com and tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Get it today at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Did you hear that sound? That was the factory of American Pride Roasters closing from August 24th to September 14th. Don't freak out. APR Coffee isn't going anywhere. They're doing their annual factory shutdown to reorganize, restock, and clean. You can still order from them, but your favorite coffee won't ship until September 16th, around that time. During the shutdown, they are offering the Brad's Brown Bag Blend. It's a combination of the best brown beans from Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas. Brad's Brown Bag is an unforgettably tasty blend. In order to get this new blend, just go to mojo50.com and click the donate button at the top. Donate at least $25 per bag. That's a nice round number. And you will also get a free 8-ounce bag of coffee for every additional 2 pounds you order at AmericanPrideRoasters.com during their factory shutdown. Please, take advantage of this limited time offer while you can. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. We're coming back in about 25 seconds here. And let's see, can we squeeze this in? Yeah, we'll just wait. Listen, I hope you had a chance to go to the potty and use the potty before you come back, because I still have a whole lot more I want to share with you. And thank you for listening. I also have a new YouTube channel, so go check me out. There's a link on my website, Battle4Freedom.com. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. Glad that you're listening, and share this out. During the break, one of the things I wanted to share with you is I've changed my website for YouTube. I have a new website. If you go to Battle4Freedom.com, there is a YouTube link, I believe. I think there is, or I think I've shared it out over the weekend. But please go check out my new website, new YouTube page, subscribe, and go from there. It'll be great, and we'll have a wonderful time here. But I've been talking about this whole idea from agitation to spin and the devilish craft of denial that's been going on, and our country has just been in this disaster zone. I need us to wake up, and before we do that, because as we're seeing a lot of damage, as we're seeing a lot of things that are taking place, I want to share a couple more sponsors, and I want to also share another promo I want you to check for one of the other people that comes on immediately after Battle for Freedom. 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want you to take a listen to this. But here, for people who are losing power or who need help, I want you to consider Patriot Energy as one of our other sponsors who continues to want to make a difference to people who need help. Check this out, Patriot Energy. Are your energy bills getting out of hand and you want to unplug from the grid? Consider Patriot Energy, a local veteran-owned solar company. You need honesty, integrity, and clarity. These markers are essential in the ever-growing solar industry. Call 602-721-6717 for a free quote. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio sent you. That number is 602-721-6717. Call Patriot Energy today. And while you're also doing that, I want you to understand we had devastation with the hurricane. Because you know what? It's interesting. With all the other craziness, the shooting is taking place. I know the president is going to be speaking or has gone down to try and minister to the people who have been affected by Hurricane Laura. Many of us we've heard about cat coolers for a long time. I'm hoping that we can turn around and get a cat cooler out to the people who are going to need this. They don't have refrigeration. And this is the reason why I want you to look into a cat cooler. When the world is going to hell in a handbasket, you need rugged, you need strong, you need durable, you need cat coolers. These are the best coolers on the market in 27, 55, and 88 quart. Go to catcoolers.com and give them the code Watson to save 10% on your purchase. Don't settle for those substandard containers that melt, leak, and destroy your memorable moments.
Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Cat coolers.
Can't go wrong with a cat cooler. So let's get back to some of these topics as we were sitting here. Spin, cycle, everything. We want to be in a state of denial. Last week, a couple weeks ago, actually, one of my coworkers had put out a post talking about where they shared where there was a person from Germany who was insulting American citizens who are so freaked out about having to wear a mask. You shouldn't wear a mask. Oh, look at these barbaric Neanderthals in the United States that don't want to wear masks. And there's this condescending spirit, because this is the problem that I have. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. But what the thing that I struggle with, and for us non-mask, mask wearers, we don't have to beat down the other individuals who want to wear a mask. If that's what they want to do, let them do it. But I think it's very sad when I watch the condescending spirit and condescending attitude from those who want to wear masks, and they say, you don't love people if you don't wear masks. You're an idiot if you don't wear masks. So science proves that and so they pulled an article or a post or a comment from someone who was supposedly from Germany. I mean, no facts around the area that this person was from Germany, but I've watched this thing float around for a while now. Well, did you guys get a chance to pay attention to what was happening in Germany over this weekend? Because fury in Germany as far-right protesters stormed Parliament building during demonstration against coronavirus lockdown measures. Protesters breached security barriers and raced up the steps outside Reichstag. And some of those held flag of former Imperial Germany before dispersed by police. And basically, Frank-Walter Steinmeier said, use of banners, unbearable attack on democracy. So they're turning around. Now get this. Because the Germans, or not all Germans, are keen to the oppressive measures, the fascist measures that are being implemented because of the virus. Now, I'm not saying that the virus doesn't exist, and now there's new data that's out there talking about the whole idea that the CDC is giving you a little bit more factual information, that the people who actually died because of COVID-19 is now looking at 9,200 instead of 154,000. This does not diminish, it neither diminishes the 9,200 who lost their lives, nor does it diminish the 154,000 who lost their lives. The other, what was it, 97% of the people who died, they died. COVID-19 was part of the symptoms that was present at the time, but they already had other underlying issues. COVID-19 probably latched on and made the situation worse. You know how they talk about cancer victims who go through chemotherapy, and chemotherapy kills their immune system. There's nothing to fight back infections and diseases. So normally we try and incubate them and keep them isolated so that they're not around people who are sick. We're trying to keep them healthy. So you sit here, and now we're getting all these different numbers. The number of people who attacked me, COVID-19 is killing hundreds of thousands of people. And now we're looking at the numbers of being rewritten. I'm not going to completely talk on that situation until I hear more and more and more information, but I found it very intriguing. And here's the crazy part about it, because we heard about it in Florida. We've been hearing it about the country, around the country, as states have been recalling and redoing their numbers because of the fact that the people testing positive were having false positive tests. We're having false positive tests. But because of the fact that this was never about protecting people. It was about power. It was about control. Power and control. Power and control. And many of you don't want to listen to this. Many of you don't want to hear this. There's not much we can do for you if you want to live in a state of denial. We've been warning you about this. This is what progressivism looks like. Again, I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. I had my issues, but I'll tell you, I was really bothered by the level of deception that was being pushed on by the media. Understand this: when I chose not to vote for Donald Trump in 2016, it was based on my moral convictions. But I'm going to let you know that one of those convictions wasn't existing in my heart then and now is the deception that Donald Trump is a racist. He's an opportunist. He's not a racist. But see, what happens is we let the news cycles continue to just distort our reality. And unfortunately, we don't have a clear mind because we go in with our presuppositions, our predisposition to believe that all we see is just racism. Racism here, racism there. Look, it's a white bug. It's racist. White bulbs, light bulbs, they're white. Why don't we make light bulbs black and actually show that there's a equal representation? Yeah, because let's do that. Let's end all the racist oppression with light bulbs and paint them all black, and then we can really have equality going on here. Can I get a hand? Can I get an amen? Makes me so sick just to look at the things that we're just embracing. But you know what? There's starting to be a wake up. There's starting to be a wake up. Check out this next one, though. I found it really interesting. As we're watching our cities burn, we're now seeing that, let's see, where is that? Six Democrat Minnesota mayors endorsed Donald Trump. Democrats left us, moved so far left, we don't recognize the party. And so what happens is we actually have 6 mayors, Democrat mayors in the swing state of Minnesota, formally endorsing President Donald Trump for a second term on Friday while taking shots at Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden. The letter mainly highlighted economic issues as being their primary driver for the mayor's recent endorsement, but it also noticed that the party has gone so far to the left that they no longer recognize it and that the party left them. I want to highlight something here where it says they mainly highlighted economic issues. Economic issues. Understand this with, I think, who was sharing this past weekend? Pastor friend was sharing that he said, I think they said 30%. I don't know if it was the church or New Yorkers are leaving, abandoning the state. New York and California have been losing people for years now. One of my coworkers told me when he moved here from California 2 years ago, and he was saying California is losing like 1 million people a year. California is losing near $1 billion a year every time families are exiting and leaving the states. But here's my problem, though, is many of you who are leaving those states, you actually have a liberal bent, a liberal mindset, which is fine. It's your choice. But please do not think that bringing that mentality into states that are freer is going to make things better, that your liberal freedom is in any way going to make everybody equal is going to work, because we can see it didn't work when you were there and you voted the people in who were going to do that. Please don't think that the liberals in these other conservative states are any different. You come here to Indiana, you come to Indianapolis, and you're going to see that the liberalism is strong. Now, again, if that's what people want to believe, that is their choice. Unfortunately, many of those decisions are making Indianapolis look like little Chicago, like New York City. I played a video last week where they were talking about the whole idea of people defecating on the streets downtown Indianapolis. People are getting shot. I just read a story to you in the first segment, or just even earlier before going to the break, about people being shot, kids being shot, killed downtown during peaceful protests. Indianapolis is turning into, so a lot of you, I want you to move to Indiana, but not Indianapolis. Do not move to Indianapolis. I'm sorry. It's a death zone. As long as Mayor Hogsett, as long as there is a Democrat mayor, as long as there's a Democrat city council here in this city, you're not safe. Period. The police can't do their job, and they spin cycle everything. We had a black man, Drayzon Reed, who was shot and killed. He was videotaping himself and streaming live of him turning around and evading police. Streaming live, basically saying he's going to shoot somebody at the 9 minute mark, between 9 minutes and 9 minutes and 30 seconds. This guy says on air, live, as he's evading police, I'm going to shoot somebody. And then everybody's like, oh, he didn't have a gun. Well, his gun was tucked in his waist. And when you slow down the video and you look at the video, you see the emblem of the gun that he had, that if you fly back to February, I believe it's 23rd, on this kid's website, he has a video of him driving down an Indianapolis street, shooting his gun out at homes and businesses. But the people who are in denial, the people who are spinning everything about it's the cops coming after him, it's the police coming after him, they want to ignore. They want to be in a state of denial. And now there's more information there's more information out there right now that could be condemning to the narrative that that police are killing black men. They don't want to look at the data anymore. They don't want to look at the information anymore. A state of denial. Don't move to Indianapolis. I used to live, I lived on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Don't go there. It's getting worse there too. Northwest side, there was a level of area of peace and quiet, but it started moving from the east side. It started moving from downtown, and it's working its way up. It's infecting everything inside the loop. Sorry, just keeping it real. Being real. I'm sure that there might be some bastions of peace and quiet that's out there, but understand this. It is very, very scary, the nature and condition of Indianapolis. I just want y'all to be safe. I'm tired of the lies and deceptions of you thinking you're coming to a paradise. It was a paradise when I came here 25 years ago. And it was funny. I remember another guy I knew from New York. He said, and I needed to hear it from him, because he said to me one day, he's like, do you realize the problem with Indianapolis is that the things that were going on in New York 20 years ago, they're now doing here. And I sat and I thought about this. I was like, holy cow, he's right. All the stupid games, all the childish things that were happening in New York, all the criminal activities and the criminal mindsets that were happening in New York was from 20, that I remember seeing and experiencing, not participating in. It was happening 20 years prior. It was now a new thing in Indiana. So I guess I don't think we have to wait 20 years for Indianapolis to start looking like what New York looks like right now. I think within the next 5 years, I think before 2024, Indianapolis will probably almost rival Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis, Detroit, LA. Yeah. It's good. Indianapolis, if it doesn't change, and everyone wants to be delusional, let's put these black people in leadership because they're going to save us. Power to the people. Move out to the country, people. Get away, because Indianapolis is not a great area. And I'm just going to be real with you. Hey, let's move away from Indianapolis for a minute here and get into something else I thought was really disturbing. This is really sad because, let me just talk about this. J.K. Rowling returns the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Awards after a president calls her statements transphobic. As part of her refusal to back down on her stance against aspects of the transgender ideology, author J.K. Rowling humbly returned her 2019 Ripple of Hope Award to the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Organization after its president called her a transphobe. In a memo posted to the organization's website early August, Kerry Kennedy, the president, strongly criticized Rowling's troubling transphobic tweets from earlier this summer, alleging that she used her gifts as a writer to demean transgender people. You want to talk about spinning things? Now, Rowling, think about this. J.K. Rowling, successful author, in poverty, on welfare, comes up with one of the most fascinating stories that's out there. Okay? Demonic in nature, but still fascinating. This woman comes out of the gutter, rises to become a billionaire. If you want to talk about a story of hope, a story of not redemption, but a story of recovering from the lowest points in life, J.K. Rowling is one of them. I sat down. I haven't read the books. I heard they get really, really dark after books number 3 or 4. But, you know, the movie is interesting. Fascinating to see what they did there. But here it is. This is a person. This is a woman. This is a successful woman who's risen out of the ashes of defeat. She's put herself in a position of success and power, and now is being stripped away from her because she doesn't speak the way that people want to be, that acceptable speech. Political correctness has completely destroyed everything. Heartbreaking. I may not agree with Rowling on a lot of different things, but it's her right to express herself. No matter, and again, I've shared this with you before. Call me the N-word. It's your right. If you call me the N-word, it's really not going to destroy my life. Honestly, you calling me the N-word and being honest and sincere about it helps me understand the framework by which you operate. I'm not going to deny you your right to call me the N-word. And I don't think you should even be fired calling me the N-word. If that is what you want to say, if it's unfortunate, but if that's what you want to say, so be it. That's what the First Amendment. What the First Amendment's for, folks. But you watch and you see how that kind of language is only permitted by one class over another. And we've been trying to tell you this. This is what's been happening. There's been this bias. There's been a bias going on. Oh, it's not happening. This is right-wing conspiracy theories about bias from Facebook and YouTube and Google and things like that. And what do you see on a daily basis? Censorship. Censorship. They censored the president. Freedom of speech. There was no hate speech in what the president said. The president was sharing information that everybody else was sharing. But now, the fact checkers in Facebook are now completely removing everything. And many of you continue to think it isn't happening. Oh, well, I'm not seeing anything happen. Of course you're not seeing anything happen because they're removing it so you can't see what we've been trying to post. It's working because you don't see it any longer. Oh, I'm sorry, you're operating in your liberal bubble. That just tells you what the reality is rather than what it actually is. Oh, J.K. Rowling, sad story, and it's unfortunate. Let's go a little bit further to, again, the double standards that are going on right now. Joy Reid. Gotta love this pound of visceral hatred and vipership. This is probably who John the Baptist calls a brood of vipers. Let's see. Joy Reid basically decides to call the black speakers at the RNC Modern Day Minstrel Show. A modern day minstrel show. Let's see. Sunday morning, substituting for Joy Reid on NBC's Morning Joy, the host Tiffany Cross disparagingly referred to speakers of color at the Republican National Convention, including Senator Tim Scott and Heisman Trophy winner Herschel Walker, as minstrels snapping. It really took a lot. It really did look a lot like a modern day show. So this wasn't actually Joy Reid, but Joy Reid has actually had her things and negative things that she said. But she says she wanted to say her nasty remark by playing clips of various speakers of color, starting with former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, who stated in her speech, in much of the Democrat Party, it's now fashionable to say that America is racist. This is a lie. America is not racist. It's not racist. And Nikki Haley is correct. But it's really sad that, Joy Reid she only is sponsored because has there been an open rebuke on what Cross has said in place for Joy Reid? Probably not. And probably not from the minister, because the minstrel, blackface, shuck and jive. This is the language that's permitted. This kind of hate speech. Don't say the N-word, but this is the equivalent of saying the N-word. Uncle Tom. You just called him an Uncle Tom. You just called him a sellout. This is what's permitted on the left. And you know what? As much as I disagree with it, and it's unfortunate to hear, I support their right to say something as asinine as that. But look at this. This was another one I thought was very interesting. Because this is talking about spinning stuff. Chicago Teachers Union tweets out praise for a guillotine protest, completely in support of wherever this is headed. So you have Chicago Teachers Union, local number one, the primary collective bargaining body for Chicago's teachers, has been an integral part of Black Lives Matter protests in Chicago. But on Thursday, CTU took their interest on Social Change National, tweeting out support for a threatening guillotine protest that took place in front of Jeff Bezos' house, demanding the $30 minimum wage or threatening Bezos with violence. Now, again, the teachers union. These are the people who are teaching your kids. These were probably some of the people who have taught you, and that's the reason why you can't recognize that you've been manipulated by the system and you can't discern truth from error. That's all I'm going to say there. That's all I'm going to say there. But understand this. This is probably another reason why you might want to start homeschooling more, or just start homeschooling, period. Because if we can't trust the behaviors, look at, when you go to the latest list of people being arrested in Portland, teachers, social workers, and individuals, all who have the ability to infect and basically drive the direction of what our kids' mentalities will be like. Why do you think they don't want parents watching and paying attention to what the kids are learning? There's a reason for it. It's because they want to continue to indoctrinate our children with the poison of devils. And it's very unfortunate, because know this, people they don't want Mike Pence bringing his Christianity. They want him bringing his Christianity, his prayers, and all that stuff to the American public and to the United States. We don't want to hear that stuff. Keep your Jesus to yourself. Actually, you can look right now and you see even on the Antifa mobs and everything like that, and BLM mobs, they're yelling, you could take your F your Jesus. That's what they're saying right now. So you have in your mindset that you believe because Mike Pence being a Christian, he's going to allow his Christianity to infect his mentality and his judgment. So why wouldn't these Marxist teachers who are racist and fascist, why would they not take their teachings into the school and infect our children? Yeah, because y'all don't want to believe that this is happening. Here's the last one before I get to Los Angeles evicts Grace Community Church from parking lot. For the past 45 years, Grace Community Church has leased a large portion of its parking lot from the Los Angeles County. On Friday, the Los Angeles County Department of Public Works terminated that agreement, no doubt in retaliation for the church invoking its constitutional rights to gather on Sunday for worship. Los Angeles County is retaliating against Grace Community Church for simply exercising their constitutionally protected right to hold church and challenging unreasonably unlawful health order. You know, and this is what kills me, because in the process of this, we've been trying to tell you this, folks. They're coming from our guns. They're not coming for your guns. You had Beto O'Rourke and current presidential candidate Joe Biden basically saying, we're coming for it all. They're not coming for the gun. Northam in Virginia tried to basically take away guns. We told you this. We told you they're coming after the church. We told you they're indoctrinating our children. We told you of their fascist, communistic tendencies, and you didn't want to believe us. Now God is allowing this stuff to happen right before your eyes, because those of you who wanted to be in a state of denial, you know what? You can't deny it anymore. It's gonna reflect right in front of you, and you can't deny it. So let's spin away from this for a little bit, and let me move into something more even powerful. Attitude of gratitude, trying to end this program off on a positive note. Send your story to b4faog@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to try and share that with you so that you can hear this. But my attitude of gratitude, where I want to go is I want to go with someone who has really impacted me over this weekend. We heard about his passing the other day, and honestly, it kind of it made me reflect really badly. And this is Chadwick Boseman, who died on Friday, 43 years of age of cancer. He says, you have to cherish, this is one of his quotes, you have to cherish things in a different way when you know the clock is ticking. You are under pressure. One of the powerful things about Chadwick Boseman that just blew me away, and I'm not going to lie to you, believe he's a believer. There's footage of him citing scripture and talking about his hope in Christ. Was for 4 years this man was battling colon cancer, and you didn't know. We didn't know. When I go out and God takes me out, I want to go out like this. I don't see what Chadwick Boseman has done, and this is my attitude of gratitude. What Chadwick Boseman has done is he has not allowed his pain, he did not allow his struggle to define him. Cancer is very defining. And Chadwick Boseman chose not to let it define him. He persevered, he pursued life. See, I'm talking about the life. His last 4 years, I would say, adds up to more than everything else before, the 39 years before. Listen, folks, there's so much more I could say. Be a Chadwick Boseman. Be a change your life. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next. I'm your host, Watson Bernier, and I'm out.